say like 20 out of 60, you're twice as likely to flip your Delver as 10 out of 60. But if you get to 40, but to get another like double as effective, you have to get to 40. So it's like you gain incremental advantage. Neither players have the turn 1 Delver. Bernal, this is one of the, when you're playing the black version, you do have to run Evolving Wilds. And we're seeing that maybe...
He only has 2 copies. Remember, he's just splashing black to flashback his Lingering Souls.
Right.
Near CJ gets an opportunity to resolve an Invisible Stalker. We know how strong that is in this mirror match.
Yeah.
And that also puts Joe in a little bit of a strange spot because he's playing a lot of sorcery speed things in the form of like Lingering Souls and Geist of Saint Traft, and he's going to be forced to tap out for those things later on in the game, and that may give CJ an opening to resolve and equip a Runechanter's Pike or a Sword of War and Peace.
Remember that Joe does have the 1 Revoke existence. Were he to draw it, he can, that'll probably catch CJ by surprise.
There's no way CJ would see that coming.
Right. Bernal just with a turn 2 Pike. That's fine. So both players with half of the good combo. But now, you can have a Stalker by itself. Like, Bernal can let him have a Stalker by himself, and CJ can conversely let him have a Pike, and it's fine. All right, there's the namesake Telltale equipment.
And I like this by CJ. Joe's tapped out. Choose the opportunity to get your sword on the table. Too often when I'm commentating these matches, I see people holding onto swords so they can play and equip it on the same turn, even when their opponent's tapped out.
Of all the opportunities, that's probably the most important 3-drop for him to resolve once he has the Stalker. So Bernal, turn 3, has resolved the Pike, but he's facing down quite a combo in Invisible Stalker and Sword of War and Peace. And he's thinking about his play pretty carefully. Outside of the sword, does he have any way to interact with this? Or outside of the 1 Revoke existence?
No.
Alright. Especially when this links up so early in the game, I would say it's almost impossible for him to race. So at this point, his game plan becomes pretty linear. It's, find Revoke existence, right?
Yeah. Ponder, Thought Scour, whatever you have to do to find Revoke existence.
I think, as you said before, this is one of the ways where both players need to be so careful about equipment resolving game 1. And he does have it.
That was a bit of a slow roll, even.
Now, do you get a little bit of a tell that he has it when he plays the turn 2 Pike? Obviously, CJ Anderson won't be playing around it, probably wouldn't expect that, but...
I guess so. I didn't really think about it at the time. And there's just no way your opponent's going to play around it, though.
Right.
Never in a million years.
I mean, you have to call him on it, too. If he has the Revoke, he'll continue to have it. So CJ resolves Geist of Saint Traft, keep 1 mana up, and Joe Bernal end-step Thought Scours, milling 2 lands. So Joe Bernal on 18 has a Pike, 3 lands in play. CJ 4 lands, Invisible Stalker, Geist. He had his Sword of War and Peace Revoke existence, so it's exiled now. Really, Joe can largely ignore the Invisible Stalker here. As long as he can get the Geist off the table, he should be just fine. He'll make a Stalker of his own, right?
That is a Stalker of his own.
Yep. And he'll hook up Pike to it. In his graveyard, he has 2 instants, so that should be enough to pretty much stop the Geist.
Yeah, the Geist won't be attacking now.
And it's good Joe has managed to link up Stalker and plus equipment before CJ has. So a game that looked really good in CJ's favor, he's been able to turn around pretty quickly with a minimal investment of cards.
Some tight play from Joe.
Also note, both players now have Moorland Haunt online. No one with anything dead yet, but there's, Haunt advantage has been made by both players. And Chris taps Haunt and dual land to make another Invisible Stalker.
And that tells us that CJ's hand is not very good here.
Yeah, that's a play that doesn't do too much. CJ leaves 2 mana up, presumably representing Mana Leak, so then passes the turn. No attacks. Though, no attacks, especially I would have probably swung with the first Stalker. Though, it means largely 1 damage isn't that big. Bernal makes a Delver of Secrets.
I don't know why you don't just... the Invisible Stalkers always turn sideways in that spot, right? Unless there's a situation where, you have a Pike and your opponent has a Geist.
Right.
But...
like we saw to Bernal last turn.
Yeah.
Bernal makes a 5th land, so he could swing and throw the pike back, but CJ instead Vapor Snags the Delver, bringing Bernal to 17. I believe this is on end step. It is on end step. And CJ
And Joe
untaps.
wants that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Joe still has control. He has the board controlled. So at that point, if Vapor Snag becomes an unsummon, it's just unsummon, which is, in the end, card disadvantage, especially when you're unsummoning a 1-drop. It's going to pay 1 to probe Bernal. Bernal has a Geist, a Gut Shot, a Vapor Snag, and the Delver of Secrets that was bounced.
Not too bad of a hand.
No, it's got most aspects of it. Gut Shot's going to be pretty weak here, but... Yeah, I like it. Gut Shot and Vapor Snag against 3 hexproof creatures, but... no way, you know... CJ's still going to have to interact with the Stalker. Alright, so CJ attacks the team. Geist gets eaten by the Stalker carrying a pike, but the Angel plus 2 damage, Joe's going to go to 11. And then CJ passes the turn. I kind of half expected him to throw another Geist down there.
Yeah, when you attack there with the Geist, it really looks like you have a Geist.
Especially knowing that your opponent has another Geist, because this gives Bernal a chance to resolve his own Geist, which he draws, and he's going to try for.
Oh, he didn't play his land before?
He drew a Mana Leak, so CJ Mana Leaks, Joe Bernal Mana Leaks back.
I'm pretty sure Joe drew a land, though.
Well, he did have Mana Leak last turn when he was probed, so I think he has to have drawn the Mana Leak.
Well, what I'm saying is that he I guess you're right. What is that card, then?
And then Bernal swings Stalker.
Oh, it's the checklist card. I mean,
Swings Stalker, which now the Mana Leak brings it up to 3. I like that Joe... What I really like about that play there is that Joe tries pre-combat to go for the Geist of St. Trapp, so that if he gets a counter or he'll get an extra damage off the invisible Stalker.
Seems to make sense.
CJ draws, no plays, passes back. And Joe draws an island. So Joe Bernal at 11, CJ Anderson at 16, but Joe with Stalker and Geist plus a Pike. Pikes can go over to the Geist of St. Trapp this time. I still think, coming back, that CJ should be more. I almost am wondering why he's not being more aggressive with the invisible Stalkers. If he's not able to answer this Pike, then I don't see how playing it this way is going to really get him to the finish line.
Like, every card is so valuable. Like, a lot of the time you watch Delver Mirrors, and you'll notice that if both players kept their opening hands, whoever draws more lands loses.
Yeah.
And here CJ's just kind of thrown away a lot of cards. You know, his Geist just
Vapor
got
Snag.
eaten up by a First Striker. His Invisible Stalker just chumped. His Vapor Snag was a bit of a throwaway.
Joe makes swings both, makes a post-combat Delver of Secrets, and then on end step CJ is going to more land haunt the, I believe, the Invisible Stalker that he just chumped with. So it gets a 1/1 Spirit. Well, it's especially, you know, CJ probably can't answer the Pike that's going on, and if so running the blocks is kind of, it's not going to get you anywhere. You know, you're going to have to, you're committing yourself to chump blocking every turn for the rest of the game.
And his deck just isn't well equipped for that.
Right.
He needs to resolve a Sword of War and Peace and get it equipped if he's ever going to have a chance.
So what we'd hope, and he plays Dungeon Geists, tapping down Delver of Secrets. So I think he'd hope for then is to kind of chip away at Joe's life total so that if he were to draw a sword, it would be lethal. And he swings the Stalker for 1, putting Joe Bernal to 10. And on end step, Joe will Vapor Snag the Dungeon Geists. Both players at 10 now, and Joe will get a chance to flip his Delver, which he does not do. But still with a commanding board presence here. And he's going to Gut Shot the token, and that should be lethal.
Yeah, that's lethal.
6 from Geist, 7, 8, and with the Pike should be at 10 damage. And she's just going to scoop up the cards. They're going to go to game 2.
All right, so Joe Bernal up a game.
So
well played game there.
Yeah, one of the more interesting things, which I always like to try to do with these Delver mirrors, is when you're done with the game, you really try to describe, one player won, but how did that happen? Because these games are operating on so many different levels.
Yeah, and I think one of the major parts of that game was Joe had a main deck revoke existence. If we really want to look at what happened that game, CJ won the die roll, which is huge in this matchup.
Right.
He was given opportunity to tap out and resolve Sword of War and Peace with an Invisible Stalker already in play in this mirror that normally lights in game 1. And Joe had his one of revoke existence.
Mm-hmm.
And had he not been playing that card, there's no way he would have won that game.
I really like that play going blind, too, because Joe, as we noticed, never actually had Mana Leak in his opener. So, I mean, the question is when you keep your opening hand, if you're Joe, your only turn 2 plays Runechanter's Pike, and you don't have a Mana Leak. That's a fairly gutsy keep. If you have the revoke, it worked out very well because he had the revoke existence.
If you have the revoke, I think it's fine, because what are they going to do?
Well, presuming your opponent's not Delver, they could make a turn 3 Huntmaster of the Fells.
That's true.
I think there's plenty of things that they could, in theory, have done, which you'd be very terrified by. I mean, it worked out very well, though.
Perhaps he knows his opponent's on Delver also.
If he knows his opponent's on Delver, I think it's a great hand, because the two things you're worried about them resolving on turn 3 are Geist of St. Traft and Sword of War and Peace, and he has an answer to both in his hand. So would you say, then, of the equipment, is the equipment as threatening if, say, CJ on turn 3 had tried to had a Runechanter's Pike instead of Sword of War and Peace? Is it still a lights out play with the Stalker?
It depends. Strongly depends on what's in his graveyard thus far. It strongly depends on whether or not his Thought Scours hit things.
Right.
Because you can race that.
You can race that. I mean, Sword of War and Peace you can't race.
You cannot race Sword of War and Peace. It is impossible.
Maybe later on in the game when both players' hands are empty, but certainly on connecting on turn 4 on the play, that's swinging 10, 12 life points a turn.
It's like Baneslayer Angels.
It's really similar. If it was unblockable and hexproof.
I mean, come on. Crib swaps a dragon. So basically expert.
We look at their sideboards. Chris and CJ Anderson has 2 more Dungeon Geists. Against this more tokens build, I don't think he brings them in, or at least I would be a little wary of it. He does have a Steel Sabotage, which almost certainly gets played, and a Timely Reinforcements, which against the tokens decks, I'm a very big fan of when I'm not the Souls Delver, but I'm playing against Souls Delver. He also has 1 Batterskull, which it's very common for players to board out Mana Leaks in this matchup, and I think that playing the 1 of Batterskull is almost a next level play on that. If you're going to board out my Mana Leaks, well then I'll board in something very large.
Yeah, that will win.
That will win. If it connects, it'll win.
I've seen a lot of people siding in the Batterskull. There are multiple ways both these players can go about sideboarding here. The first route would be to go the minus, like for example, Joe Bernal could go the -5, like the -2 Invisible Stalker, -2 Runechanter's Pike, -1 Sword of War and Peace, +2 Phantasmal Image, +1 Timely Reinforcements, +1 Revoke Existence, +1 Dismember or Negate. And that's one way of doing it. It depends, like if you think your opponent's going to have, like 4 Divine Offerings or something like that, then
right, you're hoping to really blank them.
Yeah, then you can really blank them by making that sideboarding plan. Besides that, I think the general go-to sideboarding plan here would be -3 Mana Leak, +1 Batterskull, +1 Timely Reinforcements, +2 Phantasmal Image, -1. What do you think the last cut is then?
We're looking at Joe Bernal's deck?
Yeah.
So we're saying the -2 Stalker, -3 Pike plan?
Well, now I'm saying that's like his one option.
Right.
But the other option would be to take out 3 Mana Leaks and another card to bring in Batterskull, Timely Reinforcements, Revoke Existence.
I'm not a huge fan of
Gutshot
in the mirror. It's fine. If you're on the draw, I do like it.
If you're on the draw, I think it's really important.
What's note, CJ Anderson does not play Gutshots. He has 1 Dismember, but other than that, he's opted for 2 Probe, 2 Mutagenic Growth. Chris Anderson, CJ is mulliganing. Joe with a keep. CJ, remember, on the play game 2 here. Yeah, I really think that the variety of options, though, in sideboarding is really interesting in the deck. It's still kind of a game of chess of how the other person's going to be playing it. I don't think I like the timely out of Bernal here, just because it's going to really have negative, it's going to work really poorly with Lingering Souls. There's going to be I feel like there's a good chance that if he draws one, it'll be dead on the board, even though he's on the draw.
That's fine. It's surprising to not side that card in on the draw. But I guess maybe it's just more for the red-green decks from him. Well, out of a list more like CJ's, then that card's ridiculous here. But.
All it takes is one Lingering Souls for Joe to have trouble turning on timely reinforcements.
Does CJ have access to Corrosive Gale at all, or
neither?
Like
CJ does not have Corrosive Gale. CJ with a turn 1 Delver, but it's going to get gut shotted.
Looks like Joe has a Thought Scour, something like that.
CJ decides to so CJ makes a land Delver, Joe Bernal land, gut shot, no play. CJ makes a second land, leaves 2 mana up and says go. Joe Bernal plays land back, passes the turn. Both players kind of trenching in for a late game matchup, which I think will favor Bernal.
I mean, it's going to favor whoever has more lands in their hand.
Which CJ passes on 2 lands without the third.
Yeah, so
as you said,
definitely favor Bernal then.
All right, Joe Bernal plays the 3rd land, passes the turn there, and CJ on end step's gonna Thought Scour. He mills Pike and Image and draws a card. And card for turn. CJ did hit a 3rd land, but he plays the 3rd land, just says go. Bernal end step is going to flash in Snapcaster Mage, which CJ will mana leak.
Ooh.
I think it's a little ambitious.
Joe's probably pretty happy about that.
I mean, it gives him time here to resolve, a Geist, I think, would probably be really nice. Even a Sword would be very nice, but he's going to tap 2, resolve Runechanter's Pike, and another Runechanter's Pike.
A little bit surprising there that's what
it's one of the weak...
had.
I mean, I think that's probably just what he has. Yeah. CJ will resolve Stalker, holding up Mana Leak. But yeah, I mean, I would have really liked to have resolved a creature there, but she didn't. And he does not have a Moorland on, so Joe will make a 5th land, just say go. 2 Pikes in play, CJ Anderson with 4 lands in play, and an Invisible Stalker. And first blood will be CJ's, he knocks Joe down to 19, and plays another Invisible Stalker. CJ, so far, having been a really big fan of Invisible Stalkers without equipment this match.
Hey, they tried to get equipment.
They tried, that's true. Bernal with an Evolving Wilds as a 6th land, just passes back the turn. 5th land by CJ. No players with a Moorland haunt yet.
Oh yeah, it's an Evolving
Wilds.
It's an
Evolving Wilds, right.
Always gets you, that Evolving Wilds.
And he'll hit Bernal to 17, so he has him on a clock, albeit a really slow clock. So CJ almost certainly has a mana leak here. But as we'll see, mana leaks do tend to get pretty weak as the game goes on. Joe, having made a 6th land drop, nothing in the deck costing more than 3. Alright, so now he's hit 6. We're going to see Geist of Saint Traft. CJ will attempt to mana leak it, and Joe will pay. Now, in his graveyard, Joe just has the 1 instant, just a gut shot. I think he's in the market for the first strike, really. CJ draws and immediately ponders. He's going to find something, even just a Phantasmal Image would be really good.
Phantasmal Image would be really good here.
Yeah, something... I mean, or his own Geist. Some way preferably to deal with the Geist. He keeps on top. He's going to cast a Delver of Secrets.
Ooh, I don't know if I would have kept that.
Well, I mean, he's set up a Delver Flip next turn, but I think I agree that you need to find a way to deal with the Geist.
Setting up a Delver Flip isn't going to beat a Geist that can first strike.
Joe draws another land. Joe has a Vapor Snag in hand, too. He's going to have to do a little bit of combat math. I mean, all it was still... I don't have the problem with keeping the Delver here, but my worry is that it means that neither of CJ's next two cards answer Geist either. And if that's the case, which is really possible, then Joe can run away with this game.
Now, with that Vapor Snag, Joe can turn this Geist into something that does a lot of damage very fast.
Oh, he's going to gut shot the Delver. Puts Joe down to 11. Chris is going to Vapor Snag his own Delver of Secrets instead.
19.
Which, I don't know if I like that as a rescue play, in that I think it's pretty much the same card, like, in his hand or not in his hand. Joe's going to suit both pikes onto the Geist, making it a 6-2, swinging 10. That's one half life total done for. I'm going to try for the other half
50%.
next turn. And Joe plays a 7th land.
10 times the damage that these invisible stalkers on the other side of the table are doing.
I'm going to recast his Delver. Swing 2, so both players go to 9. And he's going to pass the turn. Remember, Bernal still with that Vapor Snag.
Yeah,
almost certainly going to try for it.
It's done.
And Joe's going to Vapor Snag the Delver. And go for the kill.
CJ probably has a Vapor Snag of his own for this Angel, if he hasn't conceded yet.
He does. He'll Vapor Snag the Angel, but will still go to 1 life. It's that third one.
Yeah.
Actually, which is... No, go to 0. He'll still go to 0. The Vapor Snag's in the yard. That should be enough.
+2, 8. Oh, yeah, he was at
still
8.
lethal, and there comes the concession.
Yeah.
So Joe Bernal defeats CJ Anderson 2-0. Round 1, Star City, Standard Open, Des Moines, Delver Mirror.
Des Moines, Delver Mirror. I feel like we might be saying that quite a bit.
Maybe once or twice.
I don't mind. I like the Delver Mirror. It's a good match.
Yeah.
So, have you heard about Grand Prix San Jose in California later this year?
So that was announced